I sat in my car in the company parking lot for 3 hours. Engine off. Phone buzzing with missed calls. I just walked out of a meeting where I was about to get promoted to vice president. 6-figure raise. Corner office. Everything I'd worked for since I was 22. And I couldn't breathe. This is the story of the day I destroyed my entire career, and why it was the best decision I ever made. Let me take you back 6 months before that parking lot moment. From the outside, my life looked perfect. I was 31 years old, pulling in $180,000 a year as senior director at a tech company everyone had heard of. I had the apartment in the nice part of the city with floor-to-ceiling windows. The wardrobe that said, "I've made it." The LinkedIn profile that made old college friends quietly jealous. I spoke at conferences. People asked me for career advice. But here's what they didn't see. I hadn't slept past 5 a.m. in 2 years because anxiety woke me up every morning. My first thought wasn't gratitude, it was dread. A heavy, suffocating dread before I even opened my eyes. I took calls during my dad's 60th birthday dinner, stepping away from the table 4 times. I missed my best friend's wedding because of a critical product launch that nobody remembers now. When I told them I couldn't make it, something shifted in our friendship that never fully came back. I was dating someone incredible, someone patient and kind and real, and I could feel them slipping away because I was never really there. We'd be having dinner and I'd be mentally drafting emails. They'd be talking about their day and I'd realize I hadn't heard a single word. The worst part was seeing the disappointment in their eyes fade into resignation. Like they were accepting this was just who I was now. And here's the thing, I told myself this was normal. This was the price of success. I'd scroll through Instagram seeing other successful people posting about their 4:30 a.m. routines and hustle harder mentality, and I'd think, everyone's doing this. I'm just paying my dues. I'd become a master of the motivational caption while feeling completely dead inside. Posting about grinding and crushing goals while crying in the bathroom at work, then touching up my makeup and walking back out with a smile. The Sunday scaries started on Friday night. By Saturday morning, I was already thinking about Monday's meetings. I was 31 years old and I felt ancient. Then came the meeting that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning in March. My boss called me into the nice conference room. The CEO was already there. They were both smiling. "We want to make you VP of product," my boss said, sliding a folder across the table. "We're creating the role specifically for you." Inside was an offer letter with numbers that were staggering. Nearly double my salary, stock options, a signing bonus, benefits I didn't even know existed. This was it. The moment I'd been building toward for 9 years. The validation, the title, the money that would finally make me feel secure. I could already imagine updating my LinkedIn, calling my mom, showing everyone who doubted me that I'd made it. And as they're talking about the leadership team I'd manage, the budget I'd control, the board meetings I'd attend, I'm nodding and smiling. But somewhere deep inside, a voice I'd been ignoring for months starts screaming, "You're going to die here." Not literally, but the person I actually wanted to be. The dreams I had before I learned to call them unrealistic, that person was dying. I saw my future with crystal clarity. The next 10 years, the bigger job, the bigger apartment, the same emptiness just dressed up nicer. The same anxiety with a better title. The same feeling of being trapped, just in a more expensive cage. I heard myself say, "Can I think about it?" They looked confused. People don't ask to think about a VP offer. But they said, "Sure, take a couple days." I walked out of that building, got in my car, and I couldn't drive. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something else. Something that felt dangerous and alive and real for the first time in years. It felt like I'd been underwater holding my breath for so long I'd forgotten what breathing felt like. And suddenly someone had pulled me to the surface. I called my partner. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. When they answered, I couldn't even say hello. I just started crying, ugly, gasping sobs I couldn't control. "I don't think I can do this anymore," I finally managed. There was a long pause. Then they said 6 words that changed everything. "Then what do you actually want?" And I realized I had no idea. I'd been so busy climbing the ladder that I forgot to check if it was leaning against the right wall. That night, I dug through my closet and found an old notebook from college, back when I still journaled, before I decided that was a waste of productive time. I opened to a fresh page and wrote one question. If money wasn't a factor, what would I do with my life? Then I sat there, pen hovering, realizing I didn't even know how to answer anymore. It had been so long since I'd let myself think about what I actually wanted versus what I should want. The answers that poured out surprised me. They weren't about products or promotions. They were about connection, about teaching people through career transitions, about really writing not just Slack messages, but essays that might help someone feel less alone. About having mornings where I drank coffee slowly, about being present for the people I loved, about creating something of my own, even if it was small. I wrote until my hand cramped, pages of everything I'd been suppressing. 2 days later, I went back to that conference room. Same CEO, same boss, same smiles, though more cautious now. They thought I was coming to say yes. I said, "Thank you for this opportunity. I'm genuinely honored, but I'm declining the VP role. Actually, I'm resigning. I'll stay for 2 weeks to transition my projects." You could hear a pin drop. "Are you going to a competitor?" my boss asked, an edge to his voice. "No." "Do you have another offer?" "No." "Then, what are you going to do?" I took a breath. "I'm going to figure that out." They thought I was having a breakdown. Maybe I was. But it was the kind of breakdown that breaks you open, not breaks you down. The kind that cracks through all the armor to reveal what's actually real underneath. The next 6 months weren't easy. I lived off savings, watching my bank account drop every month. I had moments of pure panic at 3 a.m., wondering if I'd made a catastrophic mistake. I watched my old team get promoted on LinkedIn and felt that stomach punch of doubt. There were days I missed the security, the identity, the easy answer to "what do you do?" at parties. But here's what else happened. I started writing every morning. Not for anyone else, just for me. Then I started sharing it, and people began reaching out saying, "This is exactly what I needed to hear." That feeling, knowing my experience might help someone feel less alone, was worth more than any promotion. I took on consulting work, but on my terms. I said no to projects that felt wrong. I said yes to ones that felt alive. I set boundaries I'd never set before. No weekend work. No calls after 6 p.m. And people respected those boundaries. I showed up for my partner's work event for once. We took a weekend trip without my laptop. We reconnected. They told me later they'd been getting ready to leave, that they couldn't watch me disappear anymore. I flew home for my nephew's birthday, a 4-year-old's party I would have definitely skipped before. My sister pulled me aside with tears in her eyes and said, "I missed you. It's good to have you back." I realized I'd been gone for years, even when I was physically present. 6 months after walking out, I'd built a small career coaching practice, making about 60% of what I used to make, but working 50% of the hours. I owned my time. I owned my decisions. I owned my life. A year later, the business generated more than that VP salary would have been. But that's not the point. The point is I chose myself. I chose my peace. I chose a definition of success that was actually mine. Here's what I learned. Success that costs you yourself isn't success. It's a very expensive prison. The right time to make a change is a myth. There will always be reasons to wait. The time is when you can't not do it anymore. You don't need to have it all figured out before you leap. You just need to trust you'll figure it out as you go. Because you will. If you're sitting in your own version of that parking lot right now, if you're grinding but not growing, succeeding but not satisfied, climbing but not happy, listen to that voice. It's not fear. It's not weakness. It's the part of you that still knows what you actually want. And it's worth listening to. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is disappoint everyone else's expectations to meet your own. The life you're meant to live is on the other side of that fear. What are you waiting for?